Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
Are you constantly concerned about cash flow? Sick and tired of waiting for invoices to be paid? Well, one bank is promising to end the issue by allowing its customers to draw credit from unpaid invoices. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. The Commonwealth Bank's Executive General Manager for Small Business, Clare Morgan, says her institution has come up with a new industry-first technology. Called Stream Working Capital, it's allowing CommBank customers using e-invoicing to free up their cash flow bottlenecks. Clare Morgan spoke at the recent Australian Business Forum, Small Biz Week in Melbourne, where she caught up with Jeff Waters. And she starts by describing her position at the bank.
I focus on serving our small business customers across a range of different products and services. We have bankers who are effectively our boots on the ground, often working in our branches. We have bankers in 230 branches across the nation. We have our call centre, which is Australian-based 24/7, and we found that that's been a really important way to be serving our small business customers who are very often time poor. And that doesn't mean just telephone-based call centre. It also means web chat, IM, and a whole range of other capabilities that we use to meet or answer customer needs or customer questions that they may have. And then, of course, we have our digital capabilities, so our website assets and our business web pages, but also our app and all of our business capabilities within the app.
So you sit over the top of all of that, do you?
Those are all of the functional parts of the bank that report into my role.
Now, we're at a small business conference and the Commonwealth Bank has been spruiking a new product that could make life a lot easier for small business owners. Could you please tell me about it?
Yeah, we have some fantastic products and services for small business customers, and one of the things we've really been doing is listening in. So we're really hearing that access to funding is an issue for small business customers, and we think that a big part of that can be solved through this product that we have called Stream. Stream is what we call a digital working capital solution. Effectively, the way it works, Jeff, is say you're a small business and you're using accounting software such as Xero, and you have invoices that you are raising. Those invoices can actually be used to fund your cash flow. So what we can do is finance against those invoices, and then as those invoices are paid, what it does is it reduces the amount of debt. So you're not paying for any more credit than you need. And we think that that is something that's really important for fueling the small business cash flows, which is really good for the economy in turn. For too long, the small business economy has really financed itself through term debt, which I would describe as effectively mortgaging some fixed asset, be it a home or a factory, and then effectively letting that debt amortise over time. What that means is that your debt is not necessarily matched to your cash flow cycles, and that's not necessarily great for your business. So what we're trying to do is think about how else could we finance small business in a way that's more suited to the vicissitudes of their cash flow cycles and their operations, and that's what Stream seeks to do.
So let me get this right and underline it, that small businesses can basically borrow against the invoices that they're owed.
Yep, unpaid invoices. And the thinking is that we can assess those invoices for creditworthiness and lend against those. So we will make an assessment based on, how much of that invoice we're willing to finance, and we will extend credit against that. That's right.
It sounds extremely complicated, is it?
It sounds complicated, but in fact it's not. Invoice financing has been around for a very long time. However, over previous decades, the major banks have really pulled back from this space, primarily because of fraud. And there used to be, a bit of a history of fraud with false invoices and the like. What's changed is that everything's become so much more digital. And so if you think about the way businesses are invoicing and using e-invoicing, and if you think about the data and the algorithms that you can run over that in the background, you have a much better opportunity to look at, does this invoice look unusual for this type of a business, and kick it out for human judgment. So we can do that in the background. There's a company that I should also acknowledge who we've partnered with to do this called Waddle. Waddle have developed and now have been acquired by Xero, but Waddle developed some very good technology which allowed for this scanning of the fraud or the likelihood of fraud and the risk assessment against an invoice that we have leveraged to provide this product.
Okay, so assuming that I'm not committing fraud and that my business is kosher, do I need special software to do this?
No, you just need to be a Commonwealth Bank customer settling into a Commonwealth Bank transaction account, and you need to be using an accounting software provider such as Xero.
So it doesn't matter what sort of accounting software you're using?
At the moment, we're not live on every accounting software provider, but we're on our way to agreeing with all accounting software providers. But we are on Xero currently and are working on 2 others at the moment.
And so that integrates in with the Commonwealth Bank?
Correct.
So in a practical sense, what do I have to do as a small business to achieve this?
You just need to turn it on. So when you're in your accounting software or in your Commonwealth Bank app, you can turn on your stream product and you can have access. When the invoice is raised, you would submit that for financing. So you basically click a button. So when you pull up your invoice screen, you see all your invoices, and next to it on the right-hand side, there's effectively a click button, and it says, this one, request financing, and that submits it in. And then we'll get you an answer, usually within minutes, that says, here's how much financing we will offer against each of those invoices.
I see. So as your invoices are sent out, you can then claim against them?
Correct. That's exactly how it works.
Why aren't all the banks doing this?
Look, I think the difference is, as I mentioned earlier, it's digital working capital, and I'm not convinced that all of the banks have as much of a focus on digital products and services as we have had. You know, we have really thought about this as an unmet need because we look at the working capital that Australian small businesses need and we think, how could we do that safely? How could we deliver that well? And I think because we've had such a focus on digital and digital capabilities, this has allowed us to see how to do it. But I think if you're looking at through the old lens of I need a really large operations team in the background to assess for fraud and get the paper-based invoice, you might look at a business like this and say it's just not profitable, or actually I can't do this in a safe way.
Is it something that a sole trader could take advantage of?
Absolutely. Sole traders are small businesses. So as long as you have an ACN and you're using e-invoicing, there's no reason why you couldn't look at the product and consider whether or not it's right for you.
What about if I'm a bigger business?
Absolutely. So there's no reason functionally why this wouldn't work for a medium-sized enterprise as well. Typically we find that for larger enterprises, this is probably less relevant because the way they do their invoicing, the way they do their procurement is quite different. And often those bigger businesses are not using accounting software providers as well.
It all sounds very innovative. How do you hope that this will impact the market overall?
We hope that it drives more investment and growth for small businesses, because what we hear from small businesses is that about 1 in 4 struggle to access financing. And they struggle to access financing not just because of the reasons that you might normally think of, like, price or not sure where to go. Often it's, the information requirements are just too cumbersome, or I just don't have the information or the financial literacy that I need to know how to respond to my bank's request. And so we think that this just really simplifies things. Most small businesses will talk the language of making payments, being paid, invoicing, right? That's absolutely simple language that any small business needs to do to survive. And so if we can serve small businesses in that way, we think what it does is it makes cash flow management easier, which unlocks capital so that businesses can put that cash to work and invest more. So you might pre-order more inventory, for example, than you might have otherwise, because you now have more finance to do that.
That was Clare Morgan, Executive General Manager of Small Business Banking at the Commonwealth Bank. Business Essentials Daily is a SoundCartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schilberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts and Belinda Trimboli. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more B Daily next week. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.